We thank you so much for watching Voices of the Bar, where the legal world speaks. And today we want to discuss the Namirembe conference as a result of your questions. So keep the questions coming through in the comment section, and then we shall try to answer most of those questions. Two, we ask you to subscribe. Please, you are watching. We thank you for watching, but subscribe. Just hit the subscription button and you subscribe, and then put on the notification such that every time we upload a new video, you are able to see the new video. So we run two channels, that is Law School Made Easy and Voices of the Bar, where you look out for a video on Voices of the Bar and you cannot find that video, kindly check on Law School Made Easy. That video will be there. Let's go to the Namirembe conference. Now, colleagues, in 1952, there was an introduction of Sir Andrew Cohen as the governor of the protectorate. So we have a new governor who has come with so many reforms. Now, among the reforms that he was doing, it was aimed at preparing Uganda to get its independence. But there was a speech that was made by Sir Olive Layton, the Secretary for Colonies for State in the UK, where the Kabaka of Uganda had attended. And Oliver Layton said that they had a plan to form a federation of East Africa, including Buganda. Buganda was going to be made part of that federation. Now, the Baganda did not want to be part of that, and therefore Edward Mutesa, the Kabaka of Buganda at the time, protested. And they had several meetings, definitely with Andrew Cohen, but all those meetings did not yield a thing. Now, because they did not, and the Baganda had now started to boycott all the activities. Remember, at the time, they had requested Buganda to send a representative in the Legislative Council, which Buganda had refused. Remember, the first person to go on the Legislative Council was an Indian, not the Uganda. Remember, but the agreement was signed between Buganda and the British. But when they were creating the legislature, the Legico, at the time, the first person was Chalabai, who was an Indian. Now, most of these things had annoyed the Baganda. And now the speech of Oliver Layton became a spark-off. Now, because of that, Andrew Cohen got annoyed and he withdrew Article 6 of the Baganda Agreement. Remember, Article 6 of the Baganda Agreement was saying that for as long as you are royal and submissive to Her Majesty's government, we shall be able to recognize you, the King of Buganda, as the native ruler of your people. But listen to the keywords of Article 6 of the Buganda Agreement. They are saying that for as long as you are royal and submissive to Her Majesty's government, we shall recognize you as a native ruler of your people. That was Article 6 of the Buganda Agreement. Now, when Andrew Cohen and Mutesa got issues, now Andrew Cohen withdrew that article. Remember, it was saying for as long as you are royal and submissive. But now, Edward Mutesa was not royal and submissive. He had ceased to be royal and submissive. So, Andrew Cohen said, I think what is disturbing you is because we are recognizing you as a native ruler. Therefore, he exiled Mutesa. He withdrew Article 6 of the Buganda Agreement and exiled Mutesa. Now, when the king was exiled, the people of Buganda gathered around and they started to boycott all the activities of the British Protectorate. Now, Andrew faced a very hard time in establishing his rule, because now the Kabaka was out and he was still giving order. A question point is, Andrew requested the chiefs who had stayed behind to give him representatives to go to the legislative council. The chiefs told him, we cannot give you those people unless you talk to our boss, the king. If the king allows, we shall give you. Now, at that particular time, Andrew knew that he had messed. He knew that he had issues. And therefore, talks started. And those talks is what we call the Namirembe conference. They were held here at Namirembe in Kampala. The talks, one, were about the return of the Kabaka at the Namirembe conference. Two, the issue of federalism. Three, the issue of representatives in the Legico. And very many other issues. But those ones, and also the position of Buganda in the protectorate. Remember, Article 3 of the Buganda Agreement was saying, colleagues, you have a pause there, that we shall make sure Buganda is at the same footing with all the other provinces. Now, the British were trying to apply that Article 3 of making Buganda to be at the same footing with all the others. But the Baganda were not happy with it. And therefore, at Namirembe conference, they were discussing how do we retain our position of superiority. So, the conference is actually called the Namirembe Conference, simply because it sat at Namirembe between the Luchiko, the chiefs of Buganda, and the British. Keith Hancock was there, as well people who was leading, and Andrew Cohen. And this conference yielded many things. It yielded the return of the Kabaka. The Kabaka was brought back. Two, the restatement of Article 6 of the Buganda Agreement. Andrew Cohen restated it back and said, we now recognize you as the native ruler of your people, but be loyal and be submissive. So Article 6 was brought back. Federal was introduced. Some of you are going to see later in future that in 1962, when Uganda got her independence, Buganda had a federal, and other areas like Busoga and others Ankole had the semi-federal. Where did the federal originate from? Of course, we shall see later at Lancaster. Sorry, at the Wild Committee and the Molson, at the Wild Report and the Muster Report. And then the Lancaster Conference, we shall see how we arrive at the federal, but it has now started at the Namirembe Conference. Now, the most important, biggest impact of the Namirembe Conference, it culminated into the signing of the 1955 Buganda Agreement, which was signed between Andrew Cohen and Kabaka Mutesa, who had been brought back at the time. So, the wrangle that had been created by Mutesa and the Cohen created the conference. The Baganda chief and the protectorate government met at Namirembe several days and agreed on how to bring back the Kabaka on how to restate the image of the Buganda, restating back the Article 6, an introduction of federalism and the position of Buganda in the protectorate. So that was the impact. The biggest impact is the creation of the 1955 Buganda Agreement, which had the various articles. So that is the Namirembe Conference. But of course, we have extensively discussed the Namirembe Conference under the Kabaka crisis of 1953 to 55. And we shall do other videos trying to break down the crisis of 1953. We thank you so much. We ask you to subscribe, to share, and keep liking our videos. Until next time, thank you so much.